the media propaganda pushing Biden has been so distorted. Would you talk about that?
Sure.
Because
Well, speaking of immigration, by the way,
Yeah.
Obama was the deporter in chief. He deported despite Trump's rhetoric about building a wall and making Mexico pay for it and blah, blah, blah. Obama is the one who deported more people during his first term in office than Trump ever did. But Wednesday, my Black Agenda Report column is about it's about this pro-Biden propaganda. We keep being told that the child poverty rate is going to be cut in half with this stimulus bill. And that's just not true. It could be cut in half if the minimum wage were raised and if these various programs all became permanent and were strengthened. These are one-time payments. I'm glad people are getting them. But the 2,000, and people in other countries are getting continuing payments during COVID. The people who've lost their jobs, they're being supported throughout this horrendous time. We get one stimulus here and another stimulus there, and this one is supposed to be 2,000, but they subtract 600, it's really 1,400, and then try to snow you with this cutting child poverty in half, which makes it sound and he's transformational, he's another FDR. No, and no. None of those things are true.
And when you talk about raining or raining money down, was that what the words that they used?
That he's like showering us. He's showering us with money.
I mean, how unbelievably patronizing can you possibly be?
Showering us with what? I don't know. It's it's crazy, and they come up with this Biden bucks and all of this. And in the wake of Trump, and I feared this all along. Any crumb would be deemed something wonderful. And
we have a low bar.
Yes, the low and the expectations have the minimum wage increase that they proposed. First of all, would have made the federal minimum wage go from $7.25 to $15 an hour over a 5-year period.
Yep.
I know.
So that was insufficient, my God. And they said, well, you can't even get crumbs. Here in New York City, our minimum is already $15 an hour. And nobody went out of business, by the way. So nobody went out of business. McDonald's didn't disappear. Nothing changed except for the people who managed to get a little more money in their paycheck. But Biden it's quite terrible. These phony progressives who, they talk a good game on Twitter, or even the not progressive. Nancy Pelosi said, we're going to fight to increase the minimum wage. Well, the Republicans aren't even part of the discussion. So who's she fighting? She's fighting Biden. It's the Democrats who would have to fight other Democrats. Basically, the progressives would have to grow a spine and fight her.
Well, yeah.
I do think it's really just a question of corporate versus non-corporate. I think that if there was an uprising on the political right where they basically swore off corporate money as well, you would see the same problem essentially happening over there. There would be this deterrent from ever exercising, an opinion, if you will, that can challenge corporatocracy. And I think that probably more than anything else is the biggest dividing line. And I think I don't necessarily think, the squad and, the progressive contingency of people led by like Katie Porter, Ro Khanna and the like are bad people. I just think that I do think that they fear the power of the corporate media and the hell that would rain down on them if they ever challenge the establishment. I do think that there is that fear. How do you see it as far as their perspective and why they're not challenging power?
Why our non-corporate candidates aren't doing more. And I'm not one who says this is just something that people are talking about. I actually think they're, it's not on them completely, but.
No, it's, they are, I don't think they're horrible people either, but at the end of the day, if they don't do anything, it doesn't matter that their intentions are good. I think they aren't fighters. They would have to fight their own.
Exactly. They're not leading. They're not leaders, even though they're on the right side of policy. They're not motivated to actually take the lead. And I think both of those things were required. I actually was listening to an interview you did. I don't know. It was within the past couple of months. It's been since the January 6th incident. And you made a comment that is something that I've basically been talking about, where you said we'd storm the Capitol, but the left wouldn't be able to get enough people to show up. And it's true, because the populism is boiling on both sides, but only the right is able to somehow harness it and go. And it isn't that there isn't the same anger on the left. It's just we can't get out of our own way.
Well, we saw some of it last summer after George Floyd was murdered, and the millions, I'm not exaggerating to say millions of people took part in demonstrations all over the country. So we see that there is this desire to mobilize. I think electoral politics sucks a lot of air out of the room, frankly. And everyone was told, just focus on getting rid of Trump, just focus on getting rid of Biden. And there aren't too many people who can disconnect themselves from that narrative. But now, especially that there is a Democrat in office, I think all the mobilization on the left is on social media. And I don't think that we could get that. I mean, think of all the issues that we have to demonstrate about, the minimum wage,
exactly,
foreign policy, the forever wars, the military budget, which literally keeps us from having any nice things. Excuse me, Julian Assange, Biden doing his foreign policy, basically doing everything that Trump did. I mean, I could go on and on. So many people unhoused. I don't know how old you two are, but I remember when Reagan was president, there was this thing, Hands Across America, to end.
I remember. Yeah.
And now they're like 10 times as many homeless people. Why can't we get people to just on that one issue? But we don't have the right direction. We're not organized well enough. I don't think we should see last summer as a failure, but I think it's something we can learn from. And there are very few of us who are willing to go after Democrats. And having a Democrat in office really does take away a lot of our energy. But Lyndon Johnson was a Democrat. People demonstrated against him. So I guess people should ask their grandparents what they did. I don't know.
Thanks for watching. If you want to support our mission to transform politics into service, please like this video, subscribe, follow us on social media, and consider joining our Patreon, where you'll get early access to our interviews as well as other exclusive content. Links are in the description. Peace out.